lórí Facebook, and yes, so like lórí YouTube, and yes, so like ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́, and yes, so like ijó ìgbádìyẹ, and yes, so like
Thank you so much. Please share the broadcast like I said. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, okay? My audio was acting up, so I want to put it where it's actually going to remain stable. Share the broadcast.
aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Kadobin Shepepe, Kadobin Dara. That is the Oduduwa, Emefiole. Have you seen his magic? I'll tell you more about it. Abracadabra. Now, today. So, good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us from. I know it is a breakfast time in America and it is lunch time, in Europe as well as Nigeria. Thank you for joining me. See, I've got some unique stories, right, to share with us this morning, afternoon, or evening, okay? And we will start with the latest. The Central Bank of Nigeria, where Kadobi is superintending. Hang on, let me ask this one before I even continue. Okay, I need you to please let me know if this audio is still pretty much crispy, like crisp and clear. Can you help me with that? Right, thank you very much. So, Kadobi issued this circular, just so for those who have been paying attention, okay? And then whatever it is, the news that you are hearing right now, you are currently witnessing what is called voodoo economy. And some are already kind of smarting up and observing that how could your dollar be going down and the prices of goods are not? But they have kind of an explanation for that. Now, take a look at this. Before now, when Nigeria ran out of forex, especially under Buhari and Emefiole, Nigeria Central Bank was receiving almost zilch of forex. Nigeria was exporting almost nothing that hands them forex. The crude oil of Nigeria that usually is the golden goose that lay the golden eggs has been sort of stolen, the goose stolen, the egg stolen by the criminals that were in charge of Nigeria, APC, Egbekegbe. So because of this, they now came up with an idea that let's just float the Naira and floated. Sorry, I want to make sure that my heating is off. The jacket is now getting me a little bit warmer or too warm. Sorry about that. Okay. So yes, they decided that they will float the Naira. Floating their currency simply means they can no longer back it up with forex supply. The central bank of a country, they are usually the depository for the largest depository of forex. Any foreign currency you are looking for, you see them in bulk in your central bank. Do you get that now? Either physically or electronically. They always have this stuff for that. But under APC, all this was gone. So Nigeria Naira had nothing to back it because behind the scene, what the criminals were doing to make Naira look like it is actually a real currency is for them to subsidize any huge, what do you call it? Any huge, subsidize the largest part of the market, okay, where the demand and supply for forex, as Nigeria is a country that is import dependent, okay, so including importation of petroleum products. So you see that large part of that market, they decided to subsidize that so that the pressure on them providing forex in place of Naira to weaken Naira, right? They can bridge the gap. So over time, they've been subsidizing that, subsidizing their friends, subsidizing different other, like that with the with Nigeria's dollars, okay, like the Nigeria forex. So at the point they couldn't anymore. So they now said, you know what? Let's float the money so that let's make it a demand and supply thing. If you have dollar to sell and I have dollar, I want to buy dollar. Tell me how much you want to buy it. If I want it, I'll pay for it. That was what is called their floating. So to them, once demand and supply matches, the price will fall by itself. How many of you remember that? I think they were actually they were doing TV round, telling everybody then that Nigeria Naira was finding its value when it was floated and it was headed for the rock. So they said, no, Nigeria currency, because Nigerian central bank, they have stopped, okay, supplying or subsidizing forex in Nigeria. What is subsidizing forex? Nigeria Naira has nothing backing it for decades, except for crude oil. The moment the low cost invaded the Nigerian treasury, Nigeria resources, now that Naira, that crude oil that was backing Naira was no longer viable. It wasn't even there anymore. It was like almost like nothing. Then industries, the manufacturing industries in Nigeria, they are also dying. Many of them are dead already. I don't want to use the word dead, but those who are still existing, they are struggling. They are like, struggling where they have to provide their own electricity. So the cost of production in Nigeria is so massive that it is not profitable. And therefore, most of the supposed manufacturing companies in Nigeria, they are there now mostly just to repackage and resell, while they import most of their stuff. Like it's cheaper to import than to manufacture in Nigeria. And the government in Nigeria never really invested in that part to make sure that that aspect is filled. Electricity alone, power alone would actually go a long way in helping the people within the country, businesses within the country, okay, to produce enough that crude oil is not the only thing being exported for forex from Nigeria. Do you know that farm produce alone, like agricultural produce alone, they can earn Nigeria money, they can earn times 100 of whatever crude oil can earn Nigeria, because you are so blessed that, like, arable lands everywhere that you could cultivate anything all season, all year round. But the criminals in Nigeria are not interested in that. They are more interested in ready-made money. So investing in electricity, in power, investing in infrastructure, genuinely now, not like conduit pipe where they steal your money. All right? Like investing in them will strengthen the Naira, because when people have to buy from Nigeria, when they have to buy from Nigeria, they would have to buy in Naira. So if they are bringing their dollars, if they are bringing their pounds, if they are bringing any currency at all, they would have to buy Naira first before they buy from you. But what do you say to the criminals who fail to invest in all of that, and they have already spent over 2 trillion Naira, but over 4 trillion Naira all over Nigeria, state governors, state government, federal government, ministries, ministers, and the rest of them like that. They have already spent over 4 trillion Naira on automobiles alone in the last 1 year. Buying cars from Japan, buying cars from Germany, Mercedes-Benz from Germany, what do you call it, Toyota from Japan, and all of this. They've already, like, they've shipped out all the money to the countries that have local manufacturers. And before they can buy those cars, they have to change your Naira. to Forex, buy dollars, buy euro, buy yen, and all of that stuff. Imagine a country that spent over 100 billion yen on buying vehicles from China, from Japan. And the same country is appealing and is just taking loan of 104 billion from China, 104 billion yen for China to support agricultural products in Nigeria. So the investment is not on that. So subsidize it and make it look like your policy is working. So when they blamed BDCs and they cleared them, reappointed some of those who are probably their own, the Central Bank of Nigeria stopped the floating of the Naira. Mind you, officially in public, they are floating Naira. But behind the scene, even in public as well, they're not even hiding it, because this is what the circular say. I don't know if you have seen it. This is the circular that the Central Bank of Nigeria admitted or is admitting to be subsidizing the price of exchange rates in Nigeria, okay, by giving certain allocation of dollars to Burundi change in Nigeria and telling them at a certain exchange rate and telling them how much to sell it. So instead of giving the dollars, nobody is currently aware of where they got the dollars from. And I know Nigerians, it doesn't matter. What matters now is that the Naira is gaining strength and the dollar is going down. Dollar is going down. Why can't the Central Bank of Nigeria, instead of playing this stupid game, right, this way, why can't they just Cardoso, wherever you get the $15 million from? We remember when you got $2 billion from the Afrexim Bank. A lot of us were asking, what did you do with that $2 billion from the $3.3 billion that they said they wanted to use to strengthen Naira? So their way of strengthening Naira is first to control the supply, which normally is their job, but you cannot control supply when you say you are floating the currency. That's contradictory, okay? It's like when they told you subsidy is gone, but at the same time, they are telling you they will make sure that the price of petroleum will not be more than. You have no say there because you pay nothing. It's because subsidy wasn't gone anyway. And that's why they can still tell you that this price will remain this. It won't change. Of course, you can't say that if you are not paying subsidy. Abi? So here, instead of playing this long game of 1,300, 1,200, why not just sell the dollars to this Burundi change for $400 Naira to $1? Like just crash it. A lot of you, I don't know a lot of you how much you know about economics and the rest of that too. I do not know. I'll tell you something that I do know. Okay. The only currency that they are doing abracadabra to make look like it is strong, even when it is not, is the Naira. And they are doing this publicly. And those who are supposed to be like educated people, they are seeing it. And the propaganda is actually working the way they want it to work. How much is Naira to dollar today? 1,345 Naira to $1. It's coming down. It's still coming down. Wait for Cardi B's work. And then the moment you begin to ask questions like, okay, how or where did you get this money from? Because we can easily see now that you are giving the dollars to people and you are telling them how much to sell it. You get that now? Now, this dollar you are giving to this Burundi change, this dollar is not being given to manufacturers who are either importing raw materials or who have to go out there to really buy things and bring them. The things that goes into the hands of the Nigerians themselves, the end users, like their food, their medical supplies, and so many other things that people actually use like everyday stuff. Majority of them imported to Nigeria. And those who are importing all of this stuff, right, they have to buy the dollars at the ridiculous exchange rates. among other things that they have to face at the border, bringing them to you. So if the Central Bank of Nigeria wants this dollar subsidy to really help you that is happy dollar is falling, I think what they should either do is, one, they should give the money to real manufacturers, those ones who have to buy the dollars. And instead of selling it to them for 1,300, okay, why not just sell it to them for 3,300 Naira to a dollar? Like, it's obvious you are subsidizing. That's exactly what your this says. These exchanges or exchange rate is not clinged on anything. This money that they said 15 million as of today, Kadobi, they have used 15 million. That's how much money they have shared to these bureau de changes in the last 5 days. And somehow, it doesn't seem that the prices of things are going to change anytime soon, because the money will end up in the hands of their fellow rogues within the system. What is the price? What is the exchange rate in the market now? 1,300. We told you it's still going to come down to 1,000. It's going to come down to 400. Why not just do it now? Okay. Somebody said, oh, where do you think the money is coming from? Obviously, the money is not coming from any crude oil sale. That is guaranteed. The money is not coming from any trade of the central bank that is known. They haven't stated. We know they got $2 billion from the $3.3 billion loan they wanted to take from the Afrexim Bank. They've collected around around November, December, they collected the $2 billion from that. We still don't know what they did with it. They said they wanted to use it to strengthen Naira, even though I think they gave it to their friends. Remember that time when they were threatening you that a liter of petrol was going to go to 1,200. And then the Kiaris and Kwa said, no, the NNPC is doing something to make sure that it will never get to 1,200. So then, boom, Afrexim Bank gave them the money. So when you ask them questions now, they will be asking you, are you not happy that it's going down? Are you happy that it is going down and the price of your food and your cost of your living is going up? Should that one make sense to you? By any means, I'm just asking, does that make any sense to you? That's the question. All right? And indeed, if that is the voodoo economy of how to strengthen your Naira, why can't they just do it now? Like, just pump out the dollars, okay? And sell it to this bureau de change for 400 Naira to a dollar or 300 Naira to a dollar. Crash it totally. Use that dollars, crash it. And ensure that you sustain that. Because you have to sustain this kind of a thing. If you want to remain in control, that means if you want to control the price, it's like the food as well. It's like government going around and say, you must sell your food. You must sell your products at this also price. And you say, no, I can't. I say, if you don't sell it, we are going to confiscate your goods. They didn't buy it for you. You have been charged for whatever it is that it costs to actually got it produced. And for you to make a profit as a business person, right, you have to put your own profit on it as well. Then the useless government that never knew how to really create wealth will come around and say, no, we want you to be selling it at this price. No, you can't. No, you can't. What you can do is this. You can go bring the similar product or similar goods or similar food. You will bring them into your country and you will flood your market with it. I'll be with them. So where people are selling a bag of rice for 80,000 Naira, you cannot force them to sell for 79,000 Naira, not to talk of a sell for half price. You can't force them. And you cannot blame them for hoarding it since you don't want them to sell at their price. You cannot blame them for hoarding the food. What you can do as a responsible government in that regard, at least for the temporary one, is what? You bring in more rice. And you start selling the bag of rice for 20,000 Naira. Far from. So the people will go to those places and you have to sustain it. That's another thing. You really have to sustain that subsidy. It's called subsidy. Nigeria is completely run on subsidy. And that is why it's just that the subsidy is not majorly for you. The subsidy is for them, the criminals in control of your government. They subsidize their lives, or you subsidize their lives. Sure, you get. So when they remove, what do you call it? When they remove subsidy on something and it affects the rest of things, which is you directly, the only way to now control why people can't probably, rob you, as they will say, is what? You bring in the similar products, good standard, and you flood them with the market. Into the market. And by so doing, you made them maybe force, or you have to maintain and sustain it. You have to keep supplying that, or you start growing your own food. That means you have to keep supplying and subsidizing until your own farms are producing similar food, and then you flood it to the market. So you see those ones who bought their goods at high cost, right? In high cost, right? So what happens is that they will be forced to sell cheaper. And when they are selling cheaper, they are guaranteed of another supply, which could be from the local production at that time. So before you know it, the whole you can last for a year. After that, you balance it up. Then the price of food, the price of this, the price of that, they will begin to actually be regulated that moment on. But you must keep the supply chain going. Ukraine and Russia, they are fighting war. But Ukraine continue the production of their grains. The farms, they continue to grow food because the production line cannot stop, or else they would have to depend on other people from other places who are producing the same thing. And to get it from them, you know what I mean? You would have to what? You have to break your bank. So Nigeria didn't do that. And right now, the money that they are pushing out little there and there to give themselves this media hype that does not really reflect in anything. Ask yourself now, how come this thing not reflect in anything? There was a news that broke up this morning, and they said that the depot has been flooded. No, I don't know. Like the news was basically that the price of petroleum in Nigeria has crashed. And for those who actually confirmed that, said the price of petroleum crashed from 650 Naira per liter to 640 Naira. But that's something, if it can actually be said to be like, general. Usually when things go up in Nigeria, they know they come down. But there were people who said the price of petroleum actually dropped by 10 Naira this morning. Is that true? Even though the price of, anyway, talking about prices, maybe they can always be like a up and down there. But when you see the massive difference in what has been blamed for why the price of everything has gone up, subsidy. Now, which is a subsidy removal and then petrol, right? So if the price of, then dollar rather, because of dollar exchange, okay, dollar is up and prices of everything has gone up. So if the price of dollar is coming down, it should automatically reflect in basic things to start with. Others said that maybe the supplies that people got then are still on, and until they are done with them, then they can possibly start selling or buying cheaper. Another excuse. But that is how it works in the voodoo economy. Okay? Nothing is really, really real. Nothing is real. It's pretty much like, So yes, the supply of dollars to the BDCs, which is in a zone, right? A little bit, dubious, if you ask me. Okay? So it's their own way of controlling the price and say, hey, if you go elsewhere and any BDC sell dollar for you for more than so price, call us because they are selling our dollars. You get what I mean? Like the Central Bank of Nigeria ordinarily should just have kept the money, okay? And instead of giving the money to BDCs and all that, right? They should have kept the money for everybody who is going to make a legitimate exchange and sell it cheaper, subsidize it like they have always been doing. Under Bukwari, the Central Bank of Nigeria sold $1 for, they actually sold $1 for 11 Naira to $1, when the rest of the country were buying it for 450 Naira to $1. And they said it was because of the forms they submitted since 1986, 85. That wasn't approved. So they had to approve it now. And they use 1984, 1985 exchange rates. So this is just like Central Bank of Nigeria telling the world and saying, oh, we have vendors who now sell our dollars for us. Okay. And if you are one of these vendors, every time you need your own supply, $10,000, we'll give you $10,000. Now, every time you have you want your own supply, these are the accounts